Hello everyone, Shriram here from ShriLearning. Thanks all the viewers for watching this success story. I'm sure success story gives you dopamine. The excitement to see somebody winning. Also, we feel that we are as winning. So we have Manikandan Vaithiyanathan with us from US who cleared PMP on 30th of March. So very recently. It's not that an easy journey. He has to read a lot, practice a lot, which is a corporate life busyness. But again, he did a good job here. And he got above target in all. That's an important thing because with the current change in the question pattern, we are hearing it's getting a little tougher, but still he's able to crack it because he's good at both predictive, adaptive, hybrid. You ask any question, any kind of the book, he can answer it. So first of all, congratulations to Mr. Mani PMP.
Yeah. Thank you, Shriram.
Great. So what I do is I'll bring up Mani's certificate. Here it is, Manikandan Vaithiyanathan, and 13th of March. Yep, perfect. So whenever you see this color and your name there, that excitement is only when you feel it, when you get it, you know that. If you say that now, you feel okay, it's okay. But again, if you ask Mani, that excitement will be great. Right, Mani?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. So, Mani, before getting there, so which city you are in US?
I'm from Philadelphia in the United States, Pennsylvania State.
Pennsylvania. So, you know, PMI Institute is there?
It's exactly 12 miles from my house. It's not far. I've driven past PMI office quite a few times, actually.
Okay, good. How good the office look like?
It's actually smaller compared to what they do. It's actually smaller, but due to the COVID stuff, very rarely you travel. But before 2020, I have traveled a few times, and I, drove past PMI office.
Okay. So whenever you get some doubt in PMP, do you visit their door? Ask them, guys, help me out.
I wish I can do that, but unfortunately, on the outside they have a board which says PMI, and pretty much that's it. But I have participated in the Delaware Valley chapter events. I have been active participant in a lot of networking events here. So yeah.
Very good. I think it's an admin office what they have there, but again, PMI is not in one place. It's a head office, but they're spread across all over the world. Nearly 200 countries they touch base. That's pretty interesting. Great. And what nature of job you are doing, Mani?
Yeah. So I'm into software services industry. I'm working as a director for program delivery. So I manage multiple clients across North America region, specifically in ERP testing. I'm also heading the Oracle Center of Excellence business unit for my company.
Perfect. So there is a director in front of us. Okay, great. We can make out from your blazers and that's a common dress code for directors.
Exactly, especially when it comes to video conference. Due to COVID, it's kind of become your regular dress now.
I understand. I got it. And again, being from software industry, people generally have a little allergy towards PMP, whereas people want agile certifications or anything on software related certifications. How come you got tempted with PMP?
Well, I have actually done, this is my 11th certification actually. I've done technical certifications prior to this. I've done ITL, I've done Scrum Master and Product Owner, and a few Oracle certifications as well. This one is always something, it will challenge you, right? So you can go with any certification. In fact, I was reading a blog, the top 10 toughest certification in the world. PMP is number 2. There is one more that has come out as number 1, which is in the Cisco side, which they rank as number 1. This is number 2. But this one, it's not technology specific. It's more of management oriented. And there is no right or wrong answer. It's all about how you perceive and how you actually give your answers to. So it is always going to be challenging. And so that's what, maybe made me to go for it. In fact, I have also got a little bit target ahead of me after this. I want to do PGMP and PFMP as well. But then I just want to start with one. So I started with PMP.
Great. So no wonder you are in director place. Okay, I understand the certificate list. So I think after you took the exam, you may even argue that PMP can go to number 1 spot in toughest.
That is very true, actually. People do say that it is very tough, but then until unless you experience that, I should definitely second that comment, because it tests you in and out. It tests your knowledge. It tests your perseverance. It tests your capabilities. It tests your thought leadership. I mean, I can go on, and this is one of the most challenging certificate. And the moment you finish that, the kind of satisfaction you get, man, you kind of achieved something. So
Yeah.
that's really good. Yeah.
So see, being a director of an organization, and I know that you moved from Australia to US, and you have traveled multiple places, visit multiple nature of job. So how do you feel relevance of what you're learning? Do you think there is some relevance, or is it just a
Oh,
book knowledge?
no, absolutely. There are a lot of relevance. In fact, being in service industry, that's what gives you different flavors of the industry, because I handle clients from oil and gas all the way till telecom, retail, manufacturing, and you get different flavors of project management. You also get different flavors of how they do the project day in and out in terms of let it be agile. And I've seen people using pure lean in certain area, and I've seen people using hybrid in practical sense. So to me, PMP is an ocean. So if you try to be if you try to learn a little bit in that ocean, that itself will give you how effectively you can swim along. That's how I look at it. It's a big ocean, but then a little bit, and then try to swim along and then learn more. Learning doesn't stop. Life never teaches you to. Life never stops you teaching lessons. So I think your learning also should continue as it is.
Amazing, Mani. I know that you have this kind of motivation, but also I can read something behind you, which gives some motivation. So what actually you put there behind you on the board?
Oh, I mean, this is something that's there in my room. The bottom one, if you can read it, it says, "You got this."
You got
And
this.
there are a lot of things on top of it. Keep trying, keep inspiring, keep motivating, keep learning, keep listening. So I always wake up to this. That kind of gives you a bit of external motivation to, okay, you start a new day, a new thing for you to learn, a new thing for you to achieve. So that's something that I always look up to.
Great. So good skills needed for the top 2%. So welcome to top 2% of most achieving people. I used to call this top 2% because of their consistency and a good discipline around them. Great. Super. Yes, man. Now let's go on to listenable, because people are very curious to know, as you say, exam is getting tougher. But again, there is some area where we can work out, which can make the exam more easier for ourselves. So talk about your journey of preparation and exam, which can help many people.
Absolutely. I actually wanted to do this in 2020. I had a vision and a mission for 2020, but unfortunately, due to corporate work, I never got a chance to even open the book. So then I thought, okay, 2021 was born. I was like, okay, this year, come what may, you need to finish by end of March. That was the first goal that I set up. And then I was looking for what is the right time to open my book. Then I thought, okay, if not now, then when? I'll almost reached end of January. And then I got a couple of books ordered, hard copies. And then I started opening the book, and I thought, okay, this is going to be boring. I want to make it something which is interactive, so that I can talk to people, I can work with them, engage in a forum type of environment where I can actually provide some inputs as well as get some inputs. So then I thought, why not join a course like this? So I came across ShriLearning YouTube videos. I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and one of them was yours. And every time I come across you standing and explaining, I was like, okay, this seems to be interesting. Let me start. So January 24th, I think it is the second day 2. You started the batch on 23rd. I missed the 23rd one, and then I joined on 24th. And then I immediately started liking it because it's more of engaging a person for 4 hours. In my regular life also, I do a lot of training and teaching to a lot of people. So if you can actually engage someone for 4 hours, and that to a batch of 100 plus, that kind of got me into it. Okay, now this is the time for me to start engaging myself. I should not give any more excuses. 4 hours on weekend, especially Saturday and Sunday, and then every day at least 2 hours. That was my first target. So I started in January, and then I actually did in 3 different approaches. One, of course, spending time in the classes and going over the books on the weekdays. Second, pick a study group or a partner so that you can pick their brains and then talk to each other, know what you know, and then know what they know. So it's more of understanding from 2 different perspectives. What that gives you is, it's not only going to give you a knowledge from your side, it's going to give you a thinking box from the other person. What you might not be thinking, the other person might be thinking. So you can pick. same way how I think they will also pick up. So that really got me. So I thought, okay, let me start with that. And third approach is participate effectively in the forums. So what that gives you is, because if someone asking a question, before even answering it, you need to do research. You need to find out what is the right thing for that person to understand, for a wider audience to understand who is not even asking that question. So that kind of gave me a lot of exercise to do. So this I started from February first week onwards. And then I think diligently I did for 30 days, which was like achievement by itself, spending 4 hours to 6 hours on a weekend, and then spending at least 2 to 3 hours on a weekday amidst all your corporate work. I was feeling a sense of satisfaction on a daily basis. I was like, okay, fine. Now you are getting there. Now
That's
let's
right.
talk about now let's talk about how much you understood. So then that is when I started giving prepcast. So almost at the 60-70% of the completion of the books, I started giving prepcast every day, minimum 50 questions. So that was a page turner for me, because the moment I started giving the questions, you might know knowledge wise kind of a good idea, but then the situational question throws a curveball there. Now that is exactly when I started realizing that, okay, the more questions you give, the better you're going to get. That is when I thought, okay, now I'm going to practice additional hour every day knowledge area wise questions. And then at the end of the knowledge area, I also started giving 100 questions every day. So I started from 20 to 50, 50 to 100. And then I was doing a study phase of exams. And then when it comes to the mock, that is when I realized I am a person, I cannot sit quiet in a place for 2 hours. Even during work, I used to get up, I used to go and talk to people. So I was like, okay, how am I going to sit for 4 hours? That was the first thing that hit me hard. Okay, so then let me try for mock one. So I think one of the class I told you in mock one, first 60, I was fine. Next 60, I was like, let me finish this. The last 60, I was like, why am I doing this? I was so restless. I wanted to finish there and there. I was rushing so fast. And then I somehow finished mock one. So that's how I started my journey from, not even opening the book from to giving the mock, which is like in a 35-day period. And then the moment you go with mock one, you kind of realize, okay, you're getting there. Now what is next? So you should start focusing more on what are the areas that you are not getting clarity on in the question. So I started doing retrospective. That is when the study group really helped. And I also did a lot of practice questions where I feel that area is not at all clear. So even if like, for example, risk management, right? If I have given some questions there, out of 20, even if I get 18, till I get 20 out of 20, I used to try. Let me see what are the other two that I'm not getting. So that kind of helped reinforcing my knowledge. And that's how I did my study. In terms of study books, I would recommend everyone to stick with one book, because the content is going to be the same. But the way in which the author has written is going to be different. So I'm a visual learner, and I also like using metaphors when I study. What I mean by that is, instead of studying the 3 different roles, I'll give you a couple of examples for the people who are watching the video. If you want to learn about Scrum Master, Product Owner, and development team, I used to remember like a dragon boat. If you're in a race boat, the people who are paddling are development team. The person who is drumming, he's nothing but a Scrum Master. So he's going to only coach you, motivate you, make sure you're driving properly. The product owner is the owner of the boat, who actually knows which boat should come first, which one should I put in the water, things like that. So I used to put these sort of metaphors, which will help me to remember clearly. Same like Mona Lisa painting for difference between increment and iteration. Same way I used to put like that. And I also use metaphors for predictive as well, where, for example, let's say risk management, right? So you have this primary risk, you have secondary risk, and then you have residual risk. So when you read by the definitions, it's going to confuse you, obviously. So what I did was, okay, let me use some metaphors. And then that's what I explained to a few people who reached out to me in the WhatsApp group, as well as that. So imagine for risk, let's say take an example of tornado. So there's a tornado coming. So that is a risk. So you already registered for it. And then you did your identify risk, you did your qualitative, quantitative, and then you planned your risk response. Now, the risk response is go and hide under the shelter. So now the risk happens, you realize the risk. So you go and run inside the shelter. That time someone falls. He trips over and falls. So that is nothing but residual risk. What that means is by implementing that risk, you end up getting another risk. That is residual. While you are inside that shelter, the power goes off. That is your secondary risk. So like that, live environment related things, if you connect, it's going to be really helping you when you actually give the exam. And that's what I did. So sorry, you're saying something.
No, I can see the essence of what happened the last 2 months or 3 months. You went deep inside. Now you can connect with the real life.
Absolutely, and that is really helping in terms of when you deal with client as well, because
Right.
when you have different sort of business they work on, and when they come up with a lot of different issues, it's not only going to help in terms of your domain knowledge, but if you have this management knowledge, especially from the PMP. Now I'm actually thinking very broadly in terms of what solution I should give it to them. So it's really helping me in terms of what I studied and how it's going to happen with the clients now.
Nice. When you talk to the client, are they understanding these jargons and language? When you work with the US, Canada, or Australia, or India, are you able to see this connection of the language and jargons, what you read in the books?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, today I spoke about issue log and change log to a lot of people, and they all got to know that. So, which means they know the jargons that they use in project management, and I think it's one of the most widely accepted certification, right? So people know these things, and they have a open arms for people who talks in that language. If I'm going to say, hey, let me create an Excel sheet and put all the things there, and then instead of that, if I say open a risk register, you're going to get, oh, okay, he's talking about PMP, right? That's a major difference, and that's going to be really visually seen as well when you talk to clients. And not only clients, when you talk to even when you are working in an environment where you are talking to end users, they are open to hear out as well. When you talk about something, they are like, oh, this sounds new. Is it a management subject? Can you tell me a little bit more? So that also helps you to convey what your management subject taught you. So
that's nice. That's nice. Good to know. I also want to thank you for be very busy on our forums where you keep answering questions to many people around. And yeah, how was your writing habit on a daily basis? You do
that? So I stopped doing that when I did my engineering, and after that, I think even in my master's, I didn't do all this writing habits. But this is, I should appreciate the thing that you always tell people. It is going to help you. And what I learned is I was not doing it every day, but I made sure I at least do thrice in a week. Every day was a little difficult for me, but at least thrice, if you write, that is going to help you remember. In fact, when we talk about the exam day, I will tell you what all that the writing habit helped me. But in general, while studying itself, other than the calculation that you want to do, in general, if you want to sequence it, like the 49 processes that you want to remember, instead of going and opening the page number 25 of the PMBOK and then see the table, it's easy to write down quickly. And then you put a table by yourself and then start writing things. So the memory just flows on. So that is what gives you by writing. So I really like that exercise that you gave to everybody. I would recommend strongly for everyone to follow that as well.
Yeah, there are a few people who curse me for giving that exercise, but again, it's all output. Output matters. Okay, now let's get to.
I mean, the only answer that I can give for that is the best view comes after the toughest climb. So if you are going to do the toughest climb in the studying, I'm sure you're going to get the best view after the certification. And take it from me, guys. That's really important.
Good, great, buddy. So let's talk about the day. That's very important day. So was it a Proctor, center-based? How was the exam planned?
It's online Proctor based. Okay. And in the past, what are the certification I gave? It's all in the centers. So this is my first online Proctor experience. Obviously, due to COVID, I didn't take chance to drive to center as well here, especially in US. It's not good at this point in time. So I didn't want to take a chance. All right. So let me give you the full story of the online proctoring. It was pretty easy actually. I did. It was 8:45 appointment. So I checked in around 8:15 a.m. and you get a link in the text message where you have to upload your ID, where whatever ID you're going to show as a proof, and then you're going to take 4 sides of the room as a photograph. front, back, and the 2 side walls. So you have to take that, upload it. The moment you upload, there will be a pop-up in your the Pearson view here. That pop-up says, "Hey, I'm so and so. I'm your proctor. I have to do a few more things before I let you start the exam. Please stand up, take your laptop, show the front, show the backside of your wall, show around." And because of I keep hearing this from so many people that you should not have a piece of paper. My room was clean, as in clean. I don't even have anything. I even removed this, so there was nothing there in the room. So he was like, "Oh, all good. Let's start." So I think I started at 8:29 to be precise. I started at 8:15 check-in, 8:29 check-in, all done. Then he said, "You can go ahead and start." Before I start, I always found it funny because someone is watching you, but you cannot watch them, right? I mean, it's kind of weird. So I was like, "Oh, okay. So who's that talking to me right now? Can I see you?" I wanted to ask, but I didn't. And then I started. The moment I started, just for the timing, I know a lot of people had confusion around 230 minutes or 270 minutes. The moment I clicked on begin exam, 229.59. That's what it starts, which means 230 minutes dot, right? So that's pretty clear. So 229 it started. I started with my first question. I felt like, oh, first question was easy. Like I got a lot of confidence. Oh man, I'm going to crack this. So I finished first 5-6 questions. I was on a flow. I was keeping a tab on my watch in the clock actually. You cannot wear the watch, so I was keeping a tab on the clock, and then I was like, okay, fine, 6 minutes. You are on the right pace. I did up to 15. I was okay, and then from 16th question, I don't know what happened to the whole exam pattern. 16th question, I read 7 times. 7 times I was reading the question, I was reading the answers. I was reading the question, I was reading. I don't know what sort of question is this. You just didn't get it. Then I took a deep breath. I was like, okay, let's concentrate. So, and then I started seeing the pattern that it actually tricks you for the next 45 questions. So from 16th question to 60th question, you won't believe I spent 101 minutes out of the whole exam. So when I got to around 55, 56th question, I was looking at the clock, the time is running, but I also wanted to make sure I'm doing it right because you cannot go back. So, okay, I finished 60th. Before that, it was around 98th minute. I saw around 59th question. And then I flagged few questions because you know that you cannot go back. So I clicked on flag review. And then I finished everything. When you click on end review, it again asks for, are you sure you wanted to close? Because you cannot go back. I was like, why this guy is telling me this? Okay. So that gave me sort of a second thought to go back again to make sure I don't miss anything, because you're always in a panic mode the first 60, right? Like, oh, okay, then I finished 101th minute. It was all done. I said take a break, and then I panicked actually. I was like, okay, 100 minutes, now what? You are left with nothing. You have to finish 65 minutes for next 60 questions, and then another 65 minutes next 60 questions. So I was like, okay, I was thinking myself, but I'm generally optimist. I didn't really feel bad. Okay, it's gone types. Though in my heart I was saying, dude, what is happening today? But then something was telling me, no, you got this, you can do it. So I went out, took a quick break, had this protein shake. I had a quick sip of it, did 10 push-ups to get the adrenaline kicking in me. And then I came back. I sat. The proctor pinged. I think the proctor got changed. Someone else joined as a proctor, and he pinged. You can actually go and take a break now, because I was sitting there for the 2 minutes to complete. I was doing all this hand exercise and all this stuff. So he was like, no, you can actually take a break for 2 minutes. Then I told him, no, I already took the break. I just came back. So I'm ready to start. He said, okay, go ahead and start. So I said, end break, started 60.
Yeah, this is like if you watch World Boxing Champions, okay, they'll give a break. In the break, they will do all the mouth stuff and stuff. And then you start doing round one, round two.
There are two things why that happened. One is I was giving exam in the morning. It was damn cold, and I could feel my hands were like totally chill. Second, I was having this adrenaline rush. Let me do this type. You're exactly right. Like a boxing match. Let me do this. But then, luckily, the next 60, I told myself that I should finish in 60 minutes no matter what. So what I did is I started focusing more. Let me give you a tip here to the people who are watching. the way you should read the question should be like this. First, look at what they're asking. What should the project manager do? Or what could have been done? Or what should he be doing? So you look at the exact point of what they're asking, and then you read the context. Once you understand what context they're asking for, then read the answers from D to A. Because I also notice the moment I read A, if I feel right, I ignore B, C, D. And then I just go quickly to the next question. This I did a couple of times in the mock. So then I thought, okay, I shouldn't be doing that. So next 60, from 61st question onwards, I started following this practice, and I was able to complete exactly in 62 minutes, the next 60 questions.
Wow.
And with review also, I was doing little faster.
Very
But
good.
then couple of things that tricked me was you were able to complete quickly on the radio button questions. When it comes to multi-choice or multiple choice and then match the following, it's brutal. When I say brutal, it's sometimes they gave, I think I got 7 match the following also in one question. It's all sentences, like you have to really read. There were 3-line sentences you got to drag from left to right. So the worst part was you actually drag it if you put it there, and then obviously I think people must have told you the selection criteria goes on top of it, so you don't know what you have matched with. So there are 2 questions where I spent about 3-4 minutes because I was removing everything and then doing from the scratch again. That kind of tricks you, but then I think you kind of get the neck of it the moment you actually burn all your time in the first 60. I think this real psychometric test is first 60. They're gonna throw you under the bus, right? If somehow with your knowledge you're going to come out of it, I think the next 120 questions you will be sailing through. I mean, that's how I feel they are trying to do it, because it was really it will trick your mind. 100 minutes first 60 question, you will start panic. I think I'll tell everyone not to panic. The next 120 questions, based on what I have seen, it's going to give you a little bit of breathing space to recover. So don't panic. Concentrate on and focus on the question the way you should be reading. I think you all got this. So that 60 question I finished. 62 minutes. I was able to finish everything, and then I took second break. This time I didn't have anything. I just had water, and then I was simply sitting in my couch for 2 minutes, just relaxing. Did nothing, because I know that last 60 questions I have to really keep up the pace. I don't know whether the first set of 60 is going to come again in the last 60, right? Because you never know. Your mind says.
Usually in IPL, you will have the first 4 overs of toughest bowlers bowling it. Okay.
Right.
The same bowler will come in the last 4 overs.
Right. Exactly.
So we don't know who's going to come there.
Yeah. So it is always going to be tricky. So then I thought, okay, fine. You have to do this anyway. There is no other goal. The last mile. Light at the end of the tunnel, let me push forward for it. So and then I came back. The same proctor was there. I said, I'm going to start. I finished in 38 minutes in the last 60.
Wow, pretty fast.
Because only one multi-select was there in the last 60. All the multi-select match the following all were there in the first 120. There was only one multi-select, if I remember it right. And that was it. And the questions were, without even looking at the context, I was able to select the right answer. I was feeling pretty confident in the last 60. I know I will clear this, but I was not still sure for the first 60 because there was too much of confusion that happened, right? So I was not having a lot of hope though. So I finished all the 60, 30, less than 40 minutes. And then the next 20 minutes, I did complete review, proper review. Once again, making sure I did it exactly right. And then I was reading 2-3 times the same question. I was feeling happy that once upon a time, I was thinking 2 hours back that will I be able to complete? But then I finished it. I think it was 40 seconds left. I clicked the end exam, and there comes the message. And then the proctor vanished. He was not even there. I don't know where he went. And then the proctor vanished and everything. And then PMI was asking for a survey. I gave a survey happily, saying that, okay, you passed me, so I'm going to give you a survey also. So
after the results survey come? After the results, the survey come?
Yeah, after the result, the survey pops up. You have an option to say no if you're really pissed off with the exam. If you have you have an option to say yes and then do the honors as well. So I did the other.
God, man, what a journey, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think a few things that I should be telling the team who is listening here. First of all, don't get panicked in the second half, because the thing that will throw you off is if you miss the first 10 questions, like 61 to 70, you will never be able to recover. The next 10 questions, just out of that 100 minutes mayhem, the 61st question to 70th question is when you will actually be able to do justice to pick up the pace. And then those questions, even though you get master following and things like that, if you focus on an average, you will be able to do it less than a minute. And that's what I have seen it. I know they keep changing the pattern anyway. I don't know how the things are going to be when you have the heat maps or fill in the blanks, or there are a few other models that they are trying to propose, I guess.
Hotspot.
So when that comes, hotspots.
I need to see those things. Totally, there are 5-6 variants of questions. Actually, in future, people are going to take exams. They're going to have a hotspot also in the place. Hotspot is something in a graph you have to point it.
Right.
So
we got that in mock. So I was guessing that it will come, but I have never got one. No EVM questions.
Slowly increasing it.
You're right. No EVM questions. No critical path questions. I got, but then they did ask a few things where you can actually calculate using your mind, like CPA, SPA sort of information. So which you have to just say whether it's under budget or budget types. It's not that they're going to give you a big number to calculate. That's what we got it. Like I think around 8 to 10 questions in that area, but everything is hybrid. I didn't get a single question predicted. I can give that information. Maybe one as predictive. Even then, the answer choice had something with agile. The question may be predictive. In the answer choice is still going to confuse you. So the recommendation I have for everyone is you be very strong in the 49 processes. So don't take chances with it. 49 processes you should know in and out of how the flow works. Follow in the process group wise. Start with initiating and then go with planning, executing, monitoring, control, and closing. Take an example of if you had to start a project, how do you start the charter and all the way till closing? That's how I practice. So that helped me visualize everything. And then know the nuances in the agile. You don't need to go in deep like crystal and all. I've never got a crystal question, but I did get Kanban, Scrum based questions, a lot of hybrid questions. So once you know the nuances, and then hybrid question, it's all going to be situational anyway. So another thing that helped me was I start reading the options as if I'm going to do. For example, what could you have prevented in the past to avoid this? What I could have prevented. I read the answer as, could I prevent this? Could I prevent this? Could I prevent this? So that kind of gives your thinking in your head. So you are kind of getting into the right answer. You can definitely eliminate 2 choices. Okay. If you follow the elimination technique, all the questions I was able to eliminate 2 choices, but the trick part is 50-50 chances amongst the 2. Okay. All questions. I didn't get a single question where I was not able to eliminate. That also I can tell. But then within the 2, it's always going to confuse you. And another thing I noticed was in mock prepcast, if you right click, that's a strikeout. So in the prepcast, you right click and then it strikes out. But in the real exam, it's not like that. In a real exam, you need to select everything and then choose a checkbox on the top which says strikeout, which is a time-consuming process. So what I started doing was, instead of selecting the whole answer, I select only the 1 word or 2 word just to make sure you're eliminating. So don't focus on the reading it again. So I quickly started following that, and I also did highlight. There is a highlight option that they give you, so you can actually quickly highlight the 2 that you feel that it's not correct, and then you concentrate reading only the other 2. You'll be able to definitely choose. But multi-select, there are some tricky things. They are very cleverly giving very close answers, but if you read between the lines, you'll be able to get it. It's all about reading between the lines. But PMI is testing you guys, but I think everyone can do this. It's not super tough. And also, I want everyone to think, a PMP exam to learn with fun. Learning with fun in PMP, because that's the key. Most of the time, people who get stuck with book, You won't get ahead because you're not going to experience what's the fun part of it when a project manager is actually going to take a situation under that. So the more interaction that you have with the situation, the better you would become in the exam. Do not get into panic mode. I think this is going to be much more fun when you take it light and connect with your real life experiences. That's going to be a great deal for everyone who's going to be giving their exams.
But Mani, when we say we don't want to get into panic mode, when you do the trial test or the practice test, do you feel this panic mode there? Or since it's at home, it's a practice exam, you will never feel it?
No, actually, in the biggest difference I find between Prepcast and the real exam is the real exams are obviously tougher, but the Prepcast you almost get 1 hour time to elapse. So you typically finish it in perhaps 160 minutes. So you don't really need 230 to 40 minutes to finish all the questions. That is another thing. Maybe you will get too comfortable with the questions in mock 3 and 4 because you kind of know what sort of situation they're asking. That way it is good, but what people should not undermine is, am I going to get the same questions? You will get similar type of questions, but it's not going to be the same question. So it's going to be much more tricky. So that is when you should know the nuance around how you can apply multiple knowledge area in a question. To give an example, in Prepcast, you may get a single question asked in monitoring and controlling, and then they may touch only risk. But in the real exam, the same monitoring and controlling, they may ask you risk, quality, communication, stakeholder, all combined. So when you actually put that thought in there, that's when you kind of get into, oh my God, which one should I select? First of all, you will be doubting whether I'm in the right process group. So that's a bigger difference I find. And as I was saying earlier, go with the sequence, read the question of what is being asked, and then read the context, identify which process group or knowledge area you are in, read the answers from D to A if it is a multi-choice, if it's a radio button. If it's a multi-choice, you don't need to go through that because anyway, you have to follow the elimination technique for it. So I think it is doable. It's more of maybe embrace the challenge rather than getting afraid and going back 2 steps.
Right, right. Well said, well said. Super. So now another question, Mani. I know you are in a director position in a corporate and you have a busy schedule. Now, most of the people coming for this exam are not only the project managers. They may be a director, a portfolio manager, a CEO of a company. So what would be your thought? Because some people are scared, even though they are in a higher position, they're a little worried, can I do this? So if you want to see from their perspective, a person who's tightly packed with the job and the nature of life they live, from their perspective, how do you recommend this exam? Is it good for them or is it doable?
Yeah, I would definitely say it is doable because I had this phrase in my head when I started: when there is a will, there is a way. That's how I started, because I was planning for this in 2020. I was not able to do it because of obvious reasons with the corporate work. But then when there is a will, there is a way, which means you can plan it properly and have a disciplined study approach for 30 days. You can do it. I mean, I didn't spend more than 30 days for this, but I was able to crack it because the discipline set in. And, if you have 24 hours, everyone is going to have 24 hours. Sometimes I think when I was traveling once, my co-passenger was telling me in the flight that even the president of the country has 24 hours. So they can do so much. So why not us? Sort of a discussion. So that kind of opened the Pandora box for me. So excuses can always be given, but the more thought you put across in terms of how effectively you should plan, which is again coming to the PMP terms of do the plan properly, you will be able to successfully execute, monitor, control, and close it. That's an answer. So yeah, it is sometimes it becomes tricky. Maybe worst case scenario, you can extend the dates accordingly, but then you always have to focus, set a date, work backwards. If you know that you're going to have a lot of meetings for a couple of months, you set a date 4 months ahead. You give that 2 months break, and then you study for 2 months. So until unless you set the exam date target, you are always going to procrastinate. That is another thing that I find. That's why when I started in January, the first thing I did was book the date so that I can work backwards. And I also put a countdown timer, so to speak, from the exam date. I started running in my Google device. So every day night, it tells me how much hours left for my exam. That also helped me. To get better prepared. Again, that is an embracing challenge situation. That should not get a panic mode. Oh, I have only 24 hours. I have only 240 hours, whatever. you should be able to take that. Oh, I still have 24 hours.
Where you record that, which keep reminding you?
In the Google Home, you have that option.
Google Home. Okay.
So you can set an option of remind me every day at this time how many hours left. So that also helps you. So from to answer your question in a precise way, yes, there are people who thinks that it's not their cup of tea, but it is definitely their cup of tea. It's all about how effectively you mix and have it in the right cup of right cup.
Right.
So everyone can do it.
That's great. Good. Nice hearing you, Mani. It's so nice. So any final tips you want to add for the people? Anything comes up in your mind?
Just give a lot of mock exams. I still get a lot of pings from the folks who are not ready for the mock test, even for 20 questions. So what I would thoroughly recommend is the more questions you give, the better you become to face the exam. And you get sort of a confidence that, hey, it's okay, people can scare me, but I know what I know. Let me go and give it. That sort of mode will come only when you get that mock, because I give around 5 mock tests, 4 in Prepcast, 1 in Shri, and I have given almost 600 or 700 questions and maybe 20 plus 20 and 50 set of questions. So the more retrospective you do, the better learning you get and the better thinking you get as well. So what I would recommend is don't be afraid of failures. Do a lot of mock. Learn from your mistakes in terms of the wrong answers, and there will be justification. So don't just go through only the wrong answers in the retrospective. Go through the right answers also to reinforce why I have selected that, so that next time when the same question or similar question comes, point blank, you can choose the right answer. As I was explaining earlier, in the last set of 60 questions, it took only 35 minutes for me, which means it was point blank answers for me. I just read the sentence, I can get it, what exactly they're asking for. That kind of helps you by only practicing more. Do more practice, do a lot of revisions, do focus study. Not if your intention is to complete the book, that is good, but one-time book reading is sufficient, because in the exam they are not going to ask what is the input, what is the output, or they are not going to ask what is the tool, what is the technique. It's all about the situation. So you have to get into the shoes of project manager and then think as if you are in that situation and someone is asking you. Imagine if you're asking this question as a client. Imagine if you're answering this question as a project manager. That level of thinking, that really helps. One last thing is, don't get scared of the exams. I know we all do, but when it comes to reality, you can face it. It's all about taking it lightly and reading it with fun. The fun learning is the important part that I would still recommend. People still are thinking like it's like a memorization of the exam. No, you won't get anything out of memory. It's more of how deep you understand the concept, the better you will become when you answer the questions. So I wish you all the best for all the aspirants. I'm more than happy to help anyone who needs my suggestions or any study plan approach that they need to follow. And you all got this.
Great, Mani. Thanks a lot. So that's Mani from Pennsylvania, who is 12 miles away from PMI headquarters, and is giving the story next to their building. That's good to know. Thanks all viewers for watching this program. Thanks for following with the ShriLearning. Subscribe if not subscribed, and leave your comments here. What you like with this video, and if you feel any suggestions or help you want to give us, yes, you're free to give us. And once again, thanks all for coming up here and watching out. And special thanks to Mani, the top 2% achiever now. Good wishes.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.